Okay, we are here at the SAQQARA tomb. I think you guys have all seen the documentary on Netflix, but I'm gonna go in. This is where I'm gonna go in, and I'm gonna go in and we're gonna have a look. Okay, so let's go into the
pyramid from the Titi from the 6th dynasty. This way. This way.
Lo semua ketika kan. Let's let them go ahead and start their faster. We need to do a pyramid. We made it to the depth of a pyramid.
American?
No.
Indian cartouche.
Look, the cartouche. The cartouche is named. The cartouche is named of King Titi. King Titi, 6th dynasty, 2300 before BC. Look here, this hieroglyph. Hieroglyph is original. Original the Pharaoh of King Titi. Look here the door. The door is granite. It's granite from Aswan. Look here. Look, it's magazine. It's magazine from roof is limestone. Okay? This way. It's small.
Okay, you heard it.
Huh?
So
Look, stars.
this is inside.
Stars on roof. Come on.
This tomb is more than 2300 BC. So the colors you are going to see here and those is more like the nobility signs. So to be a nobleman, usually they were holding this long stick in their hands. So the two figures of him is more like he is welcoming the visitors of his tomb. So again, you're going to see this is all original, and this is the only original parts left of the tomb. And when we discovered the tomb and when we wanted to protect it, so we completed the wall and we put this new roof. So this is all new, this is the old ones. Tombs among all other tombs we found here in SAQQARA. One of the beautiful scenes you're going to see here in this tomb, this is one of the beautiful scenes you're going to see here. You're going to see this party and this dance. Usually the nobles and the high officials were very rich people and they're very wealthy. So they wanted to have the exact same thing with them in life after death. That's why the walls of their tombs are showing their wealth and their power and their authority. So everything on the walls of the tomb, they believed it's going to be real. So this connection happens between the body and the spirit. I will be resurrected for my second life. Representing the owner of the tomb in a larger scale was more like a plan B.
Okay.
What if something happens to my mummy? What if the thieves come and destroy my mummy?
Yeah.
My spirit come back and there will be no exist for my body.
Yeah.
So there will be no life after death for me.
Yeah.
No, there must be a plan B. Plan B is to make a statue of myself. That's why tomorrow when we
A life-size statue. Like a
usually they prefer the life-size statues, but sometimes we found a lot of different sizes. So the statue was like plan B and to be depicted on the walls in larger scale, so my spirit immediately knew me and he knew who's the owner of this tomb. That was like plan B, plan C, all this to make sure that I won't be lost and I will still be resurrected. And boom, you're going to see, especially here, again, all the servants, they are all carrying all different offerings. They are all coming from his lands and his farms and his properties. And you're going to see that all of them are looking in the same way. All of them are carrying the offerings, and all the offerings will be offered to him. He is receiving all the offerings from the workers and the servants serving him and working for him. Something very important, and something you're going to find in any tomb, and something that makes us gaining weight until now in Egypt, is that bread. Bread must be served with any meal, with any dish. So this is the Egyptian bread. We always found it must be represented on the tombs. You always gonna find the Egyptian bread. So the main meal they loved in ancient Egypt in life, and they wanted to take it in life after death, was bread and
Meat.
beer.
Beer.
They loved the meat also, but beer was something very important in ancient Egypt. So that was the very common meal for them, bread and beer. We have something very interesting here. Room, it's a small room, and this is where they used to offer the offerings, especially the
prayer
food.
room.
Yes, no, not prayer, but the offerings.
Offerings.
Especially when they sacrifice with the animals. Usually they sacrifice with the ox. So the ox meat was usually offered inside the tomb. So this man's family would be paying for a priest to come and serve the tomb and to make sure that the offers would be offering every day. So that's him again, and he's receiving all the offerings. And the scenes we have here are showing the Egyptian butchers and the way how they put the animal in this position and just slaughtering the animals and cut it into parts, and all these parts must be offered here. Something very interesting in this part of the tomb, as I told you, there must be only one hidden part of the tomb. All the tomb was open, so he's welcoming the visitors to come and visit him. His spirit is coming back to the tomb. But this must be the
Hidden part.
yes, this we discovered. So that was meant to be hidden, and we discovered. What is this?
What is this?
What is this? You answer me. What is
Maybe
this?
mummy will be there inside.
Yes, this
Okay.
must be the burial chamber.
Burial
So
chamber.
we make a deep shaft inside the tomb, like the tomb of Wahdi. They made three shafts.
Yeah, 3 shafts.
Now we dig
In the
deep.
last one they found.
Exactly.
First two
so
they didn't find
there is the
anything.
deep shaft in the tomb. This is where the treasures and the mummy must be buried. So look at this.
We can open it?
Yes. This is how deep they went. And this is where the mummy and the treasures must be buried, must be hidden. This is how I would be resurrected in life after death. Everything I need in my second life must be buried with me. My jewelry, my food, my chairs, my sandals, my clothes, my beds, everything would be buried here with my mummy. So this is the hidden shaft in the tomb, and this is where the mummy and the treasures were buried with the owner of the tomb.
I see.
Some treasures, not all, because most of the tombs were robbed already. That's why again Tutankhamun became the most famous, because it was crazy when we opened the tomb and it was still the same.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can see one of the most important elements we found inside the tombs of the nobles and the high officials. The most important element is what we call it the false door. This, yeah, is what we call it the false door. Why we call it like this? Because it looks like a door, but it's not a real one. What is the main function for this false door? It's a very important thing. The only way to be resurrected for my second life is because of the false door. So they believed my spirit comes back to my body, and my spirit comes back to my body and to my tomb through the false door. That's why the offerings must be offered every day in front of the false door to make sure the spirit is coming back to the tomb. So the false door is an important element to make sure the connection between the spirit and the mummy is happening, and the spirit is coming back through the false door. Something very important also you can see here is the offering table. The other side as well, you can see Kagimni, the owner of the tomb, is in a seated position, and this huge offering table in front of him, showing all different kind of food and drinks and everything he wants to have in life after death.
What is this? Are these swords?
This is more like the offering table.
Offering table.
Yes.
Oh, it's a table.
Yes.
Ah.
The drinks. So again.
So what did they do in this room? Drinks as in What?
The most popular drinks in ancient Egypt were the beer, the wine, the milk, and the honey.
So that was served here, yeah?
Yes. That's why if you look to the upper part of the room, you're gonna see all different jars. So many different jars. They come in different shapes and different sizes. So they must be filled with the beer, wine, milk, and the honey as well. So all these liquids and all these drinks also will be offered to Kagimni, the owner of the tomb. One of the impressive and interesting scenes we have in this room is this one. Because these are so huge jars and so heavy, and this is heavy as well. So maybe, depend on this scene, we started to think maybe this is one of the techniques they used in ancient Egypt to pull and to move the stones they used to build the pyramids. So maybe they were using some wooden sleds and just to put the heavy stones on them, tied all the stones with ropes, and then start to pulling them by workers and by animals as well. And because these wooden sleds were sliding on the sand, so you can see this guy here is pouring some sort of water or oil in front of this wooden sled, so it makes it smooth and sliding easily. So maybe this is one of the techniques they used in ancient Egypt to move the stones to build the pyramids. Just as a complete animal. So Anubis was very important to protect the tomb, and he was god of embalming, god of mummification, and he was responsible for the protection of the mummy and the tomb as well.
Okay. Can I ask you one more thing?
Yes.
What about the religion during this time? It was...
The ancient Egyptians worshipped the idols, but they were not worshipping the idols as like I wouldn't say like paganism. All this in front of him is watching.
Okay, so this is his feet. Maybe the figure has...
Yes. Yeah, you can imagine the same thing we have here. That's him again.
That's him.
Yes, he was watching all these servants working.
This would have been massive, right?
Yes, and they are serving, in his property. Everything here in the wall of the tomb is going to be real in life after death. When you watch this is more like the first depicted in national geography in the world. Look at this. All this wildlife of the animals, very well represented on the walls of the tomb. When you look at this beautiful scene, you always watch it on National Geography, there is always a fight between the alligators and the hippos. And who wins?
Alligators.
No.
Hippos?
Of course. Hippos are monsters. One of the strongest animals all over the world is the hippos. Showing all these animals, all these fish, all coming from the Nile River. So this is the real life. That's why the tombs of the nobles and the high officials are a great reference for us to get to know more about life in ancient Egypt, how they lived and what they did, what they had. Especially this is one of the most popular fish we still have until now in Egypt. This is the tilapia fish. We still have it until now in the Nile River, and also the catfish.
Catfish.
Yes, is one of the popular fish we have in Egypt. So again, this is the nobleman, Kagimni, and he's watching all the servants working for him, and this is all going to be real in life after death. This is something you're going to see here, how smart and how clever are those servants. They are taking care of his cat.
And they have the equipments also. The rope.
Yes.
And I think maybe this is a
This
knife.
is a feather.
Feather.
This is actually one of the letters of ancient Egypt language hieroglyphics. So this is, we call it Iya. Iya. Iya.
What does that mean?
It means like this one was usually the sign of infinity. So it's more like long life for this man. So until now in the countryside in Egypt, when we have this as a newborn cow, he's sucking milk from his mother. This is also one of the beautiful views to get to see this face of the mother when she knew that her milk is going to her baby. So this is an okay face, and she's happy and satisfied. Compared to this one, she's not happy because she found out Yeah, they're
other
taking
people are
the milk,
making.
yes, and the milk is not going to her baby. Things like this is still happening in the exact same way in Egypt until now.
Until now.
That's why this is again one of the great references showing us life in ancient Egypt and what they did and how they did things in ancient Egypt. Again, everything you are seeing on the walls of the tomb is carving. It's not just a paint, so you just so it's a carving and it's a beautiful details. When you look at, I want you to look at this movement of the body comes with all these muscles and the position of the feet to make sure like he's pulling this rope so hard, and these positions and these muscles and these details you can see make things look so natural and showing an amazing movement in the scenes. Force-feeding animals was something very common in ancient Egypt, either to get them bigger and fatter, like we're going to see another scene, force-feeding the geese and the ducks. So before you kill them, you want to make sure they have much meat. So you force-feeding them. Or maybe if the animal is feeling sick and they're going to die, so you need to feed. Yeah, so you force-feed. This is also something we still do in Egypt in the countries. When women goes for grocery and they go to the market, so usually they buy everything they want, they put it in a basket, and until now they carry the basket up on their heads. This one is showing us how the lady is holding this with one hand. Right now, and maybe later I will show you in one of the villages, ladies can make it even without any hands. So they can walk making a great balance with a big. They were very smart by pouring some seeds in front of them when they come and eat. So they catch them in this net, close the net, and start pulling. Yes, pulling them through. In ancient Egypt, they knew ancient Egypt. So this is the man's property and this is the man's servants all working for him. So it's more like this is the end of the day. We're going to count how much fish we caught today. That's why you're going to see here, this is an important job in ancient Egypt. He's the scribe or the accountant. So everything should be counted.
So he's writing.
Exactly, and everything should be recorded and written down. So here they are more like counting, like this is one fish, 2, 3. So everything would be written here. The opposite side is where we're going to see again the same force-feeding one, but this time they are force-feeding the geese. They love the geese meat in ancient Egypt, so again to make it fatter and bigger with much meat, so they were force-feeding them. We're going to put it first in water, we make it wet, and then we're going to force-feed the geese. Even this detail showing us they are not directly force-feeding, but they put it in a little bit of water to make it wet, so they are giving us this. The ancient Egyptians were amazing with wild animals as well, and this is one of the rare scenes showing us that they are force-feeding the hyena.
That one?
Yes, they domesticated the hyena, like dogs were using them for hunting and all that, and they were force-feeding as well. So you can see the way how they are tied, yes, all the legs and all the feet together, and they are also
feeding them meat.
all the meat, yes. Again, this important job for this one here. I want you to focus on this one.
And he has his pen here tucked in.
Yes, so there are 2 pencils. Yes, above his ear. This is something we used to have in Egypt, like before any computers or anything like that. So usually the accountant is using more than one color. So this is something very common. I can show you some pictures, like in the 80s and the 90s. All of the officials and the government employee wearing a shirt with a pocket, and there are 2, 3, 4 pins in his pocket. This is from ancient Egypt. So this man wasted no time when he's forgetting this pin or something. So he got 2 extra. This is something, buffaloes, the brain, the wine.
So this number is 1,000.
That's wine or that's beer?
And these are the things they have.
The meat, the bread, the wine, the beer, the geese, the buffaloes, the ox.
So he kept a count.
Yes.
Okay, and he's telling that he's rich.
Exactly, he's very rich.